welcome to the Lioness magazine um, networking
Networking.
event. Yes. Yeah, you guys will have to forgive me today. I'm a little bit slow on the draw, but welcome to Lioness. It's one of our community events. And I'm going to let Laura go over the networking guidelines, and then we're going to jump into our agenda.
Absolutely. So these are some pretty standard rules just to make sure that everybody is respectful of one another and has a chance to talk, and we can all kind of get the most out of networking today. We're going to be doing introductions pretty shortly. They should be pretty short and sweet. There's a chance to share your name, your business, and then also we'll add a fun little question to get everybody in a good mood. We'd ask that people stay muted unless you're called on or you have something specific to share. There's also the raising your hand function if you'd like to jump into a discussion. That's to prevent, talking over each other and making it into a big, huge mess. Questions are definitely prioritized, although we want people to be able to share their wins or share any sort of anecdotes. We want to make sure that people are able to ask specific questions and get specific answers. This isn't really the place for any sort of too much self-promotion or trying to get anything like that. So those can go in the chat. Feel free to share your LinkedIn, connect with one another. It's all good networking opportunities.
All right. And so this is the agenda we've put together for today. So obviously, we're Lioness Magazine, owned by Innovation Women. We're going to do some quick self-introductions, group discussion, breakout rooms, some big learnings, and then wrap up and send you on your way. I don't know about the rest of you, but East Coast, it's lunchtime. So I'm looking at this as a terrific opportunity to consume fewer calories over my lunch and have more fun over my lunch. One of the things that we're going to do is kind of just jump into the introductions. And so what we're going to ask everybody to do is we'll go around, we'll call on you, introduce yourself, if it's relevant, your title, your company name, and share with us a big win that you've had recently. So I'm gonna start out by saying that, Kat, you're an East Coaster now. Oh, that's exciting. So yes, lunch for you too. Awesome. Congratulations. Laura, maybe you can start with your introduction.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Laura Grant. I am the managing editor of Lioness Magazine, working very closely with Bobby and Suzanne as well, who's also joined us. Big win from the past week. Been working very well with some new interns who are doing some exciting projects for us. Some really great opportunities and some new exciting things for Lioness down the pipeline.
Excellent. All right. And Suzanne, since your name got already mentioned here.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Drapeau. I'm fairly new to Carlton PR Marketing and Lioness in the spring. And a win for me this week, I was going to say the same thing. We have some new interns, but I'm also excited about the article that I wrote about the Women's Business Ownership Act of 1988.
Awesome.
So that's a fun one.
All right. Going to move on to our lovely guest. Hello, Dr. Suzanne.
Hi, hello, good morning. I'm Dr. Susan Lavelle, the founder and CEO of Premier Wellness. I work primarily with women for energy, weight, and hormones. My big win is that we're about to move from virtual to back into a brick and mortar and open up a wellness and hydration center. So.
Awesome. All right. And Kat Rogers, you are up next on my screen.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kat Rogers. I am the master facilitator at Mariposa Mastermind. I do mastermind groups and coaching for women that are transitioning back into being a working mom to help them get through that corporate mommy mind, if you will. And there's not a nicer term for that. I've tried. I've looked. It's not a nice event, so there's not a nice term. But my big win, I actually once medium-ish and one kind of bigger-ish. Well, I moved to the East. I am a Los Angeles, California native, and I am now a DC native. Well, not native, DC-er. I don't
Resident.
know what you call yourself from here. So I'm now an East Coaster, and I'm very excited. I bought the last couple things for my office. I finally have an office and I'm not crammed in a corner. So I'm like so excited about that. And I just finished my last episode of my first season of my first podcast ever.
Yay. Awesome. All right. Orly, you're up next.
Hi, everybody. My name is Orly Ziwi. I call myself your facilitator of light bulb moments, and I have one superpower, which is that I make fuzzy clear. My recent win is that my first LinkedIn article, which I plan to do a series, my first one got nearly 1,200 views and a lot of engagement. So that was pretty exciting. Apparently people do want to hear about this stuff. So that's exciting. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Cat. Second cat. 2 cats in one
As
meeting.
soon as I looked away from the screen, you called on me. My name is Kat Frey. I am the owner and founder of Oxygen Coaching Group, along with the developer of Bliss, which is the online optimal rate of pay calculator for companies that are struggling with retention and acquiring talent. So I think we finally figured out how to say it where people understand what the heck we're talking about. So our big win is that we just came off of a 3-day in-person conference. What the heck are those? And not only did we survive, but we had awesome swag that all showed up on time, including cookies and the whole 9 yards. And we potentially, if the real leads come through, we tripled our business last week.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
pretty exciting. Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Laura Burford.
Hello there. I'm Laura Burford, and I help business consultants build consulting businesses, and that's basically what I do. I help them soar. My win. I just got off a phone call. I was asked by a young woman in Belgium if I would be part of their freelancers business month. So they have presentations every week throughout October for the Freelancer Business Month. And I am the opening presenter on the second week to talk about how to start a consulting business. So I'm kind of excited about it.
Very cool. All right. Lisa Smith, you're up next.
Hi, Bobby. Hi, everyone. It's my first Lioness networking meeting. So thank you for having me. I'm in Virginia Beach, so not too far from you, Kat. My company is the Coaching Center for Mind Training and Success. I utilize brain-based techniques to help people with behavior change or optimizing performance and bring that into the corporate space as well. And particularly working with women executives to help them to improve their physical and mental health and improve their relationships and then their impact in their leadership role in their organizations. Win for this week. Well, my client wins are always my win. So I've had some new clients come on board recently, and just within the first couple of weeks, have some really great changes and impact. And one of them is a real estate agent. She's already referred a couple of people to me. And yesterday, I have a lead magnet that's a positive intelligence assessment for mental fitness and resilience. And she took it last week. And yesterday, I had like 5 or 6 people who came through my list and for the assessment. I'm like, where did all these people come from? And she had her session today. I said, did you get that link out to anybody? She said, I hope you don't mind. I put it on my social media page. I was like, no, that's great. So, so some leads to follow up with from that. So
that's fantastic. Congratulations. All right, Amelia.
Hi there. I'm so excited to be here as well for my first Lioness networking meeting. My name is Amelia Randolph Campbell. I'm a speaker and a mentor, founder of my company, ARC. And I teach creative mindset strategy to reframe stories that we get stuck in mentally and emotionally. I have a signature offering, which is my story arc workshop taught in person in New York. It's a private, a communal, very intimate space where my clients can go and shed all the shoulds and the weight of the chronic frustrations that are so stubborn to shift and actually experience that shift. My big win is up till this point, my workshops have been in person and very small and intimate. I have scheduled my first virtual version for mid-November, and am in the process of creating and marketing it now. So that feels like a big win to expand the level of impact I'll be able to have.
Nice. Congratulations. All right, Samantha.
Hi, sorry, I was fighting with the footer there. I'm also excited to be here, my first Lioness meeting as well, networking event. So thank you. I love everything that you offer, Bobby. So thank you. I know it takes a lot of energy to do what you do, and I greatly appreciate it. I am the founder and CEO of Connect More. And that is a business and IT consulting that we integrate people, process, and technology to bridge those gaps, especially in communication. And I'm the creator of the Human Code, which is a communication tool that helps people think different and speak unified.
All right. Big win.
Big win is actually this morning. So my Fortune 500 company had me come in, speak. They used the assessment, the Human Code assessment. We plotted their report. So now team leaders know where their people plot on their report, and it's not personality testing, it's communication and decision making. And so now they want me to come back in and bring the Human Code into their day and day of running their projects. So they want to use the Human Code throughout all their project process day to day. So that's a huge win, because now it's actually being implemented. It's not just being accepted and realized, but they're implementing it to help them reduce their de-risk their projects. Yeah.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Ms. Zach, hello. You're up.
Hi there. Yes, hi. So I'm I think I'm the only one here, maybe not in the States. So I'm based in the UK. I'm an award-winning hypnotherapist and mindset coach for women business owners. So I typically work with women who have been around for a while and then just realize that it's not yet another strategy that they've been missing. So I help them become more visible, transform their relationship with themselves, with money, with their target audience to create the business they want. And wins, I've got a couple of recent wins. So one is I won the Personal Development Coach of the Year for London and the Southeast. This was very recent for the second time, so I'm really proud of that. And another one is that I'm in the process of creating my very first online course, which is hopefully will be out next month. So that's
Fantastic.
me. Thank you.
All right. And Sandy Lamb.
Hi, I'm Sandy Lamb. I'm in Colorado Springs. I'm the CEO and owner of Altitude Executive Coaching. And I call myself a STEMinist because I do executive coaching for women in STEM. And I also do TEDx speaker coaching, if anyone's interested in getting on the TEDx stage. My win this week is a personal one. My husband and I, in 2022, started taking Goju Ryu Karate. Thank you, Cobra Kai. And the two of us just tested for our purple belts this last week. So.
Wow. All right. Whoever's in a breakout room with her, be careful. All right. And I'm going to share my personal win, which will probably explain why I sound like this, but I am very glad to be standing, even though I went to an event last week and picked up a lovely parting gift, my first batch of COVID. Yeah. I will say, not feeling too bad. So for anybody who doesn't know me, I'm the founder of Innovation Women, and we purchased Lioness magazine 3 years ago as a way to allow our Innovation Women members to create more thought leadership, contribute articles to promote their books and their podcasts and all those good things. And so we are trying to do more with the Lioness readership and also give our Innovation Women members more opportunities, especially those of you who are entrepreneurs, to connect with each other. So we're doing a bunch of experiments and basically different networking and webinar opportunities. So before the end, we'll be sharing with you as well the next webinar from Lioness. So we've got some good educational materials that have been coming through this program. So more education, more opportunities to connect. They all make sense to me. So we set up some breakout rooms with topics. Laura, you want to read off the topics and allow you guys to pick your choose.
Yes.
Pick where you want to go.
Absolutely. So something we kind of wanted to get a gauge on is, everybody has different motivations and different reasons for coming to these kinds of networking events. So we decided to break up the rooms based on what you might be most interested in with connecting to other people. So to read these off, if you're just looking for networking and socializing, that's one room. If you just want to kind of build those connections and get to know other entrepreneurs. Another one is partnering if you're looking specifically more towards a customer-based area, looking for those kinds of connections. Learning and education. You want to be able to share something you learned recently that you think might be helpful to other entrepreneurs. Advice and feedback. If you've either got a very specific question or you think you might be able to offer some advice, it might be good to pop in there. And motivation, if you're just looking to commiserate with other entrepreneurs, you just want to get a little pep in your day, that will also be another room available for you. You have the option to come in and out, depending on how many people are in each room. We'll also be popping into the rooms as well. So just kind of choose what's most interesting to you, and we'll have these open for about 10 minutes before we all come back. So I will open these rooms now. Hopefully.
And if you need help moving into a room, definitely let us know.
All right.
And
did they all pop up for people to join?
Yep.
Yep. Looks like some people are starting to move around. So feel free to choose a room that works for you.
Amelia? Oh, no, you see it. Okay. Everybody's like networking, socializing. Partnering. All right. Hi, Lisa.
Looks like she's moving.
She's going into advice and feedback. I'll pop in with Samantha.
Got it. You want me to go in advice and feedback?
Sure.
Okay.
I think we have to leave one person in the main room in case anybody comes in. Can you see people?
So I'll stay here.
Let them in, Suzanne?
I can do that.
All right.
Hi, Jackie. Welcome.
Hey, welcome.
How are
Thank you so
you?
much for welcoming me. Do we have others already on?
We do. We actually have folks are in breakout rooms.
Okay.
And I can move the two of you into a breakout room if you let me know what topics you're interested in. There's a room for networking and socializing. Another
That's the
one
one
is
I would like.
is that where you want to be?
Yes, please.
It's nice to meet you.
Thank you for coordinating this.
Okay, hold on. You want networking and socializing. Jackie, do you know where you would like to? Would you like
What's
networking and socializing, partnering, advice and feedback?
Okay, networking. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's good to meet you. I love your outfit.
Thank
Oh
you.
my gosh.
Well, that looked like a pretty heavy duty, mostly networking thing for everybody. So, any big learnings anybody wants to share out of their breakout sessions that they want to share with the crowd before we move on to our next? Oh, Kat.
Okay, so here's the thing about networking, and I think we all struggled with it in that room. Who is your ideal target? Like, you come to networking, do you know who your ideal target is, so that when you get in a room like this, you can ask for it in a concise way so people can refer you? I think that's probably something we all struggle with as entrepreneurs.
Okay, great. And does everybody know? Like, do you immediately have who's your target market at the tip of your tongue, fingertips? Anybody? Yeah. All right. Okay. Good. Good. Excellent. Lisa?
I just wanted to share it. So Dr. Susan and Laura and I were in a room together, just sharing ideas about things that we have going on and getting feedback. So that was really helpful. I have a breakout session that I'm doing for a women's conference this weekend, and I got some ideas about my like offer and ways to get people's email addresses to get them into my pipeline. And then Dr. Susan had asked about whether she should market to men or women with her hormone options for her new center. And so we gave her some ideas and feedback around that. Hopefully that was helpful. And then Laura was looking for ideas about, for the Lioness and topics, et cetera. And Dr. Susan brought up the idea of Innovation Women's Summit.
So. Oh, that's a near and dear to my heart one. All
Yeah,
right.
something I was definitely I was like, ooh, that would be a lot, but that would be very interesting to do. So
It would be
keeping
very
it in the back of my
interesting to do.
mind.
Okay. Laura?
This is just building on what Kat said. It might be worth having just a session on how do you define your ideal client? I deal with it day in and day out. So I have my standard that I can rattle off, which I didn't in the breakout. It's fine. But I watched a lot of people struggling with it in our breakout. And I think that, Kat, that was where you were at as well. So it might be worth having just a session on how do you define your ideal client?
Orly might have some suggestions on that.
Yeah, I was actually going to say I'd be happy to facilitate something like that, because I've literally spent 25 years thinking about that and coming up with a process around it. So yeah.
All right. Actually, that topic has been proposed by a couple of speakers, so maybe we put together a panel.
Love that idea, Bobby. Yeah, that would be great. Okay. Sign me up. Happy to do it.
All right, Laura, I think we have the addition to our Lioness queue for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Very definitely. I'm gonna put my partner in the breakout room on the spot. Samantha, I think you want to share your awesome idea. Or ideas.
My thought was, because this comes from 25 years of experience, the what's for dinner that seems the question of the day that seems to trigger so many people. And as a communication expert who helps people think different and speak unified, that concept of what's for dinner, it triggered me so much to where I shut down and was like, we had a plan. We co-created the meal plan, but nobody's following the plan, or life doesn't happen according to plan. And now it's on me, or maybe it's on the father, or maybe it's on a partner or the child or whatever. But like, it went from the days of that used to be the family, Bobby said, the family table, or like we connected around what's for dinner. Well, now in this world, we disconnect so much with everything, the noise and everything going on. So how do we reconnect with the concept of what's for dinner? And that's where I was like, maybe I just go on the Human Code road show that says what's for dinner. And we talk about the pain points, but then how do we solve for those pain points? So thank you, Bobby. I think permission granted is what I heard you say.
Oh my goodness. Yep. Absolutely. We have a whiteboard in our kitchen where we write down dinner ideas, and because we have multiple adults in this building who are capable of cooking. The person, I think it's one of those things where it's like the first person to blink, gets tasked with it. The first person who asks, what's for dinner? Well, you can cook. Go figure it out. There's a bunch of stuff on the whiteboard and there's ingredients in the freezer. Go nuts.
Yeah, it kind of brings out the worst versions of us sometimes, from my perspective.
Exactly. And to answer the question of, when is the Innovation Women's Summit? We are going on the road. So we will be in Philly. We are doing the Pennsylvania Conference for Women on October 19th. And we are putting together an Innovation Women meetup on the 20th. I am going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina in November. And that is, hold on, where is it? I'm going to be there November 3rd and 4th. So I'm trying to figure out travel and see if November 2nd or the 5th would work for people. And I am looking at some other places, and we're putting together a schedule. We actually sat down and figured out where the most Innovation Women members resided, were based, and started the priority list that way. So we will also be at the Mass Conference for Women here in the Boston area in December 14th. So we'll be doing something around that as well. And if you're going to any of those conferences for women, we will be there, or the Women in Tech Summits. We're partnering up with them to do that roadshow and visit different locations. So those are a couple of things that are happening. I want to go back actually to our opening where we were talking about, and Zahida, is that how that's pronounced?
It's Zaida.
Zaida. When everyone introduced themselves, you weren't hadn't yet joined us, so maybe take a moment, introduce yourself, your company name, and share with us a big win. And then after that, everyone else shared their big wins. What I'd like to do is kind of talk a little bit and brainstorm and share how you got to that win. What was your path? So I'm going to ask for our latest entry to introduce herself and share a big win, and then we can jump into this discussion.
Can it be a big win in the last year?
Sure. Any big win you want to share, we are there for you.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Zaida. I use she, her pronouns. I'm based in Los Angeles, and I work as the founder and chief consultant of Z Crown Consulting. We essentially help amazing business leaders build more inclusive work cultures through workshops focused on belonging, equity, diversity, and inclusion, surveys, audits, strategic recommendations, so on and so forth. And in the last year, I got two of the biggest clients of my life and of my consulting career thus far, which was amazing and opened up a world of opportunity for me.
And on that note, let's talk about how we get to these wins. Like, what was the path? Anyone want to share how your big win came about and what path you chose or accidentally stumbled upon? So, Lisa?
Right. Well, I'm going to share something different than what I share with my recent win, because that just came about as me doing great work with my client. But the Virginia Women's Conference that I got a breakout, they only had 2 breakout sessions in the whole day. And so there's 6 breakout sessions, but they had, 2 1-hour time slots. So they've only got 6 breakouts. And how I got to be one of the breakout presenters was I had made a connection from prior years and put it in my calendar, to prompt me every year, a few months before to reach out. They haven't had the conference since COVID. And so this is the first year they were doing it. And it was going to be in like my next town over instead of like Richmond or, something. So when I found out that they were going to be having it, I reached out to the contact that I had and said, hey, are you doing a call for speakers? How's that happening, etc. I didn't hear from them. So I found another route of another contact there just by looking through, the website for the senator who sponsors this, and finally got a reply back. And I said, here, well, we haven't put out a call for speakers yet. And I said, well, here's the topic that I would love to present on. It matches your theme. Here's the outline. So I gave them everything as if they had already made a call. Here's the title. Here's the takeaways. Here's, what they would get. And they said, okay, well, we'll take this under advisement. I got eventually about 2 months later said, hey, we've set up the speakers. We don't have room for you this time, but, we'll keep it in mind for next year. And I replied back and I said, okay, well, thanks for letting me know. Just in case anybody backs out, just feel free to give me a call. I'll be happy to do it on, even last minute. Well, lo and behold, apparently somebody did back out. And they said, can you get us this information, that additional information they needed within 2 days? Absolutely. My bio, my picture, etc. I already have that. So boom, sent that to them. And here I am on the agenda. So always put that thing, if you get rejected, I'm available as a back pocket last minute speaker, even if it's the day before.
So I'm actually like keeping a little list of all of the things that we're coming up with, and I'm calling it, the path to success. So I heard doing great work, little wins adding up. And Lisa, it's like, you are so focused. Like, you're like, I'm not letting this one get away. And you like went after it. Like that dogged focus on a goal is one of those things that I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we look at all of these different fires we have to put out, all these shiny things, and we do lose focus on things quite a bit. And I think offering to be the backup, you're like, I'm not giving this up. And then you were able to move fast and nail it down. So congratulations. That's awesome. All right, Orly, you're up next.
So mine is on a totally different tack. It's around writing. And so, my win was getting about 1,200 views on an article that I wrote. And what I realized is, I've been saying a lot of the same things for 25 years. And when I was writing my book, and I think about this, it's sort of like reverse engineering. It works both ways. So to write my book, I use Twitter. And I started to just send out these little tweets, and I miss Twitter. I have to say, I no longer use it, and it's very frustrating. But what I found is the things that got noticed were things that kind of went into my, okay, this is something I need to consider. And then from the tweets, I started writing. I wrote blog posts. I then created LinkedIn posts, and over and over again, basically just kind of working that, until I got crystal clear on what really mattered to solopreneurs and small business, micro businesses, founders. And that's how I wrote my book, Ready Launch Brand, the Lean Marketing Guide for Startups. And then I reverse engineered the book and then created brand tips. And then the brand tips, became kind of fodder for articles. And I've written for Lioness as well. As a matter of fact, I've done about 4 articles for you guys. And then, it's sort of like this, it's like a 360, and it just goes round and round. But every time I do something, I learn something new. And the more I put out there, of course, now when people go on my LinkedIn profile and they see all the things I've done and the writing that I've done, and my book is out there, and it's hard work is definitely one of them. Knowing your zone of genius, which I use that term all the time, and I need to give a shout out to Bobby, because you're the first person I ever heard say that. I think you said that about zone of genius. Yeah, I believe you did. I know. You're so humble.
I say a lot of things that I couldn't recall 10 minutes later. So
oh, it's stuck. Let me just say that it's stuck. So this idea of, clarifying your zone of genius and then helping somebody really communicate it in a way that the person who needs it, gets it, wants it, values it, will pay a premium for it. So all of those things have kind of gone into what I have learned, and little by little, I've sort of developed, a lane. And my lane is storytelling, communicating your zone of genius, understanding that, my tagline is, it's that we're just living in this incredibly busy space, and the idea is, how do you stand out? And so I started using the Times Square as the image, and that's kind of become my graphic that I use in my articles and other things that I do. So to sum it up, first of all, you got to get clear on what it is. Okay, so I figured out what that was, and then I stayed in that space, and then I just built on it. And then the other thing, so a big part of breaking through the noise, cutting through the noise, is consistency and clarity. So I stay in that lane. I do not talk about PR because I'm not a PR person. I'm not a podcast host. I don't, I stay in the lane that I understand and know, and build on that. And I think that for me has also shown that if you stay in that lane, eventually you become known as that person. And that's how you build thought leadership. And so when people are looking for someone who can help them cut through the noise with the right message and really understand how to clarify your zone of genius, hopefully they'll think of me. So that's
okay.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, Sandy.
Okay, I'm going to be brief. It was on my goals list for this year. So I made a list of about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items, split them up between business goals, family goals, health goals, and then celebrated small wins along the way. So my goal was to become a green belt in karate by December, by the end of the year. And so I was a blue belt in April, celebrated that win, purple belt in September, and now we'll be, hopefully, God willing, a green belt by December. So I think it's, it's cliche, but have a goal, write it down, revisit it. We prioritize those things that are important to us. So that's it.
All right. Anyone else want to share how they got to their big win? Okay, Kat.
So mine was finishing my first season as a podcast host. And I think for me, the big thing was not listening to myself and then listening to myself, if that makes sense. So not listening to the person that, like, my background before I became a financial advisor and before I became a business coach, I was a film producer. And I had always identified myself as, I'm a creative, I'm a film producer. And then when that trip up came and that was taken away from me, like, it was a huge spin out, right? So then it was like, oh, well, I can't be this because I'm not this. I can't be this because I'm not this. I can't be a podcast host because I'm a filmmaker. And when I tried to work in media, people said I couldn't do it. So therefore they're right because enough people told me this. And I let all those voices just like get into my head. And I was finally like, but you know what? I want to put something good out. I want to share how amazing women are around the world. I want to share how we all do so many similar things and we've gone through so many crazy things and all these different points of view. And I had women from all over the States. I have a couple people lined up from outside the country for my next season. Like, I was able to do these things that I was terrified of. And then I'm like, why am I terrified of it? I was a filmmaker. I put together movies on a $200 million budget. I managed 600 people. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this myself. What the hell? So I just did it. I stopped listening to myself. And then I listened to myself because I was like, well, why am I saying I can't do it? Because anything I have tried to do, whether it's living in another country, whether it is having no connections and getting into film and working on major multi-million-dollar films, I've done it all. So why am I telling myself I can't do it? Like it's not, yeah, exactly, Samantha. Like, why was I trying to get permission from somebody else? And why was I trying to listen to someone else's expectations of what I should be? When screw all of them, because I have smashed every other person's expectation because I hold myself to a higher standard. So when I stopped listening to all that and I went back to that original voice that I used to listen to, I smashed it.
Go cat. All right. Maya?
Yeah, hi. So, well, two things I just wanted to add. So, first of all, to get to where I am now and having that personal development coach of the year, really, honestly, it took so much of my own work, personal development work, and particularly because I've come from a quite a traumatic upbringing and abusive mom and a whole story that we don't need to go into, and I'm thankfully very completely free of today. But I did have to go through all that. I did have to go through all the, the stuff that I now teach women I work with. So all the limiting beliefs, all the baggage, all the stuff that we need to let go of. But I also wanted to add something else, and that is that on my road to success really included quite a number of big fails. And and also one of the big reasons I today work with business women was because originally when I started as a hypnotherapist, and I then kind of went more into the kind of coaching and performance kind of area with it. But then when I did my master's degree in London, in hypnosis, I did some experimental research, and I did a research on helping university students use hypnotherapy to reduce stress and anxiety so they could perform better at university. Now, I thought this was the best time in the world to bring hypnosis into universities and the educational system here, because mindfulness was just super popular at the time, and struggling students were just that issue was just all over the news at the time. This was about 8 years ago. So the research went really, really well. And my big plan was to then bring my program that I created into universities or even high schools. It was basically an excuse for me to, an excuse to kind of bring in tools and empower young people. With all the stuff that I think we should all be learning at school, but we don't. But anyway, nobody wanted to talk to me. It was just too alternative, and no matter how hard I tried, there was just no getting in with this program. I don't know what it would be like today. I have no idea, but I just failed massively. Like it just did not work. And as a result of that, I decided to then make that switch and turn to working with business women, simply because I knew what their experience was like. Yeah, and I've had many other fails, but I just wanted to kind of add that, and share that, because the path to success is not a smooth line, and sometimes we expect that, and we end up suffering because of that. So just that was my little add.
Yeah, I mean, what I've heard is that if you don't fail, you're not trying hard enough. And, I will say that I started my businesses because of a business that failed, that went out of business, that couldn't pay me anymore. In 2008, it wasn't like, we were alone in that. Certainly a lot of other businesses failed at the time, but the startup that I was with ran out of money, and that's when I started my first company. It's, look at the pandemic, the number of people who left jobs, particularly women, in that first September of 2020. More people started businesses than any other time in history at that moment. So, part of that was because people had to leave corporate jobs to be home for kids going back to school, all kinds of different things. Has anybody ever heard of a fail con? It's literally a convention where all of the content is about business failures. And, I'm firmly of the belief that we learn a heck of a lot more through our business failures than we do through our wins. But nobody wants to sit around and talk about the failures, particularly women, because often women are punished for failing. You look at the movie industry, for example. It's like Cat, like, right? Am I right about that? It's like,
I left just before the Me Too movement, and I could share plenty of stories.
yep, absolutely. You're shamed for failing. You are not given a second chance for failing. That is a lot of the feedback that we get from women entrepreneurs, in that they are not punished for failing, or they are punished for failing, but men are not punished for failing. If anything, there is a culture of failure that, makes you set up for your next success. Hello, WeWork. I could name others, but Cat Frey.
Okay, so I just had this huge conference last week, specifically in the construction industry. And well, as much as I would love to admit that the construction industry or the world as a whole is doing a better job at women being included, or not at least openly being targeted, I spent 3 days with the most misogynistic group in the entire world. And I had a chance to debrief with the board of this association after the event, because some of what was happening, they actually removed a speaker from the stage at one point because it had gotten so incredibly bad. And in the end,
I will have to hear that story later on. Just saying.
Yeah, it was incredible. And I will tell you, Bobby, that I channeled my inner Bobby Carlton, because I said to this all male board, the only way to combat what is happening in this room is that your next conference has a women in construction breakout. Like, I am one of your speakers in the next event. So it's not that there aren't women here. It's not that there aren't women as your presenters, but now you have the ability to sponsor, which is usually the word that I use for it, because I believe that men have the ability to help women through this, because it is what it is. But you can't ignore it like it doesn't happen, or not acknowledge it, but sponsor the situation through the time, to have women in construction or women in business breakout an event on your main stage. And so I think that if you have the opportunity, and I promised myself I was going to say this for the next however long I have the ability to, if you see this situation, or you have the ability to influence an agenda, I would just highly, highly encourage you to, suggest that there be a panel or breakout or something for women in whatever, women in business, women in construction, women in transportation, to acknowledge it. Because for the work that is, do you have female speakers? Maybe it's one step further, as in a breakout.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that, because a lot of times the women in panel ends up taking on its own issues. But
yeah, it was rough, but if we don't talk about it or be that voice, I've never seen a speaker removed from a stage, and it was, when I got on my feet, they knew it was bad, because I have a pretty high tolerance, and they actually took him down off the stage. It was bad.
That's wild. And as I said, I need to hear details, but I know we are coming to the end of our time here today. I don't want to make people late for their next meeting. I want to thank everybody for coming. And I also want to let you know that if you guys are interested in, getting a subscription to Lioness Magazine, it's $12 a year. Go to Lioness Magazine, and it's /special-offer-4-U. I think Laura can put that into the chat for you, and we'll also send it out afterwards for everybody. And also, just a reminder, we're here as Innovation Women. We own Lioness Magazine, and if you're not a member of Innovation Women, or you haven't been coming to Speaker Friend Friday, definitely check it out. And I'm liking the way this conversation went. I think paths to wins and paths to success are absolutely something that we need to keep exploring, particularly for women entrepreneurs. And thanks all for joining us today. And we'll be doing more on of these. And I think we've also got a great idea for a panel discussion coming up in terms of identifying our target markets. So thanks again, folks, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.